Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. This, I assume, will be our final video on Kaitlyn Bristowe and Jason Tartick's breakup today, at least. It's been a very interesting story that they are mutually sharing praise for each other in their breakup. Of course, we just made a video earlier today, if you haven't checked that out, where Jason Tartick has a very heartfelt and sad intro to his podcast. We haven't heard anything audio-wise from Kaitlyn Bristowe. She's taking time off from her social media. And we're going to share some, clips of Jason and Kaitlyn discussing marriage and discussing the ins and outs and fears of marriage and things like that. And, it's one of those things, looking backwards, hindsight's always 20/20, and you can always go, oh, here's the moment where I knew they weren't right for each other, which I think is just rubbish because, everyone's got flaws. Anyone could listen to a podcast with me and my wife and go, oh, they don't have the same, they're too much different, whatever. It's like sometimes your differences make the relationship stronger and sometimes they don't. You know what I mean? Do me a solid. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals for stand-up show updates. Huntington Beach, August 17th. That's in California. And then Seattle, August 24th. Those shows are coming up in the next couple weeks. And this Friday, I've got a show in Hollywood that's a Real Housewives themed show. I think there'll be maybe some Vanderpump Rules people there. Either way, link for those tickets are down below. You go check that out. And also patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind the scenes bonus content. I will be going live at the 10 to 11:30 a.m. hour. You can check that out right here. We will be talking about Kaitlyn and Jason's breakup on the private live stream. And of course, Bachelor Rush Hour, the podcast will be this afternoon. I got this comment on last video. Why is the teacher's wish list closed already? My son hasn't even been assigned a teacher yet for me to submit. So if you don't know about our teacher wish list, we did this last year, very successful. Our community raised funds for different teachers that are within our community. And what we did this year was we had a submission list last week for maybe 1 or 2 weeks. And we said, if there's any teachers out there that need help with their Amazon wish list to get funds for their classroom to make it look like a nice, lovable place to learn and all that, then submit. And we had 30 plus submissions. They all came in. And now, but some people are wondering, well, if my kid hasn't been assigned a teacher yet, how can I submit the teacher's wish list? And it's like, no. The teacher's wish list is only for teachers that are within our community. We can't possibly help everybody out, but we can help those that support the channel. That's kind of where we're at. So it's kind of one of those things that codependent inside me is like, I want to help everybody, but I know we get 3 to 10 to 14,000 views on every video. I know how many people we have in our loyal army that can help support others, and we just can't support everybody. Not right now, folks. Keep on growing the channel, and we're going to try our best to support as many people as possible. So today we've got our teachers, and the whole list is right here. Sarah, Danielle, and Layla. Layla's from Henninger Elementary in Santa Ana, and Danielle from Hidden Lake Elementary in Austin, Texas. Last video we promoted Sarah from Bright Elementary School. We're just going to go down the list and promote all the different teachers. I think we're at 33 or some odd teachers. These are members of our community that could use your help. I know that sometimes people get all excited for the teacher's wish list and blow all their funds on the first 5 or so teachers. Just see which teacher resonates with you and see what they need, and maybe you can donate some Sharpies to one and a poster to others, but appreciate all your help. Link in the comment section to see all of those teachers here. But yes, those I can't possibly be, because we have 70,000 members here. Everyone's got a kid who has a teacher who has a wish list, but how many of those teachers are part of our community? It's one of those things. I can't believe, every year I do these donations and I piss people off. They get mad at me that I'm not, donating to the right people, or I don't know, whatever. But we're trying our best, folks. We're trying our best. Okay, so let's go to the Kaitlyn Bristowe, Jason Tartick story. And of course, Demi, never one to miss an opportunity, says, is it too soon for me to hit on Kaitlyn Bristowe? Look, I always say shoot your shot. My guess is yes, it's too soon, but also I understand that you're probably kidding, and that's your way of saying you think Kaitlyn Bristowe's hot. That's my guess. Now, Amanda from the podcast Not Skinny But Not Fat said this about their breakup. Jason and Kaitlyn broke up, and I'm seriously devastated. I love them both, but let me tell you what upsets me even more. I'm already seeing everyone's opinions rolling in, and it's beyond wild how 98% of people are just so wildly sure it's on Kaitlyn. I'm seeing the following reasonings. She's into girls. She's not over Sean. She prioritized her career. She didn't want kids. She was a lot to handle. To be quite honest, though, I in my anecdotal evidence, I didn't didn't see 98% siding with her. I saw people that thought that it was, different reasons, whatever. The comment goes, the internalized misogyny is off the charts. As much as I am curious as to what happened, my thought process wouldn't go first to what she did. What did she do? And you should question if you did. Also, she has been so open about her mental health struggles on here. I hope people are keeping those opinions to themselves. And I agree that keeping the opinions to yourselves and not bringing it onto Kaitlyn's page here. This world can exist where people live in the fan fiction where we discuss their relationships. And if you don't comment to them on their Instagrams and leave them alone and don't bring it to their front door. I think it's fine to speculate, but I also think it's kind of ignorant to speculate at the same time because sometimes relationships just don't work out. We had a comment here, God forbid it just didn't work out mutually. Why is it always someone's fault? It could be a million different things. It can be partly their personality types didn't work out. It can be other things that got in the way or healing that they need to do individually. Like so many things could have contributed to this breakup. I'm going to play several clips from them on Sean Johnson's podcast where they discussed, what it was like, what it's been like to live together, date during the pandemic. And they also discuss what it was like when Kaitlyn got Dancing with the Stars, how she had to move away for Bachelorette and those types of things. That's not necessarily a knock on Kaitlyn. It's just in relationships, you don't always have the mutual couples have 9 to 5s. You come home at the same time. My wife and I have completely opposite schedules, and it requires so much communication to know when the quality time is going to be and all that jazz. Have a listen to this.
The 7-year itch is a popular belief, sometimes quoted as having psychological backing. What? That happiness in a marriage or long-term romantic relationship declines after 7 years.
I think it's the opposite. We're only at 6. But at 5 years.
6 years married, 10 years together.
I've never heard of it.
I would say like 0 to 1, we were like increasing. And then like 1 to 3, it was like, all right, freaking. And then like 5, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I accept Sean for who she is. Actually, I just
Wow.
wrote this whole dissertation.
Right.
5 years. I just 5 years.
I get the point, though. I accept someone for who they are. It's like we try to mold people into what we need from them, but to be truly detached in a healthy way in a relationship, it's just to accept that so-and-so gets mad if they are hungry. So-and-so can't handle this or that. Now, it's up to me in a relationship to understand, I get anxious before a stand-up show. So don't turn that anxiety into a fight. Don't get mad at my wife because I'm nervous before or I have a feeling, a certain thing like that. So it's up to us to individually learn how to grow and be better versions of ourselves. But it's also up to us to not try to fix the other person.
We'll unpack that tonight.
Hold on.
That's what we saved for the bell.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
I just
Now,
wrote.
these conversations can be very dangerous because you want to be open and honest about what you're going through. But then when you do that, you essentially have an audience, us, Bachelor Nation, that will use that information to be like, oh, they're toxic. So many people commented about this interview that I'm showing you guys, which is from a year ago, saying that, oh, Jason was rude. He was shutting out Kaitlyn. He was this, he was that. And it's like, look, just appreciate that they're being open and honest about where they're at. And maybe on a podcast forum, they can't have those conversations because we're judging them in a way that's just like, hey, they're asking to be honest and to talk and to open up and share all of this. Let's not judge them for it.
Transitions. We were trying to buy our first house together.
Right.
He was bouncing around the NFL. Like there were a lot of very difficult things within our marriage then that made our first year of marriage really difficult.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like those are a lot of big life changing and like pivotal moments as a first year of a married couple.
So bouncing it back to you guys.
Yes.
We interviewed you guys 3 years ago.
Yes.
And you weren't engaged.
No.
You had just moved in together.
We
You
were
had
in the
just gotten
honeymoon
ramen.
Yeah.
Just got ramen.
Yeah.
Give me the roller coaster overview of the phases you've gone through in the past 3 years.
All of them.
Yes.
And now we want babies. No, I'm just kidding. Well, we do, but
You want to take this?
no, I think you might be good at this
You
one.
think?
Well, we'll see.
All right, here's what I think.
So
I
come
think
up at
we
bedtime
went-
later. Yeah.
We went through, for sure, honeymoon.
Oh my gosh, we're
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
obsessed.
couldn't keep our hands off each other. Like, I mean, it
Okay.
was just
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, I mean, like, it was like
And like for a
honeymoon
long
phase.
time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like I
for a long
remember
time.
you talking to someone and being like, we're still in the honeymoon phase. And she was like, yeah, right.
Yeah,
And we're
yeah,
like, we really are.
for a while.
Yeah.
And then I think in our lives.
And maybe because they were traveling so much, doing their own jobs, that maybe that extended the honeymoon phase. They didn't burn it off as quickly.
We're moving so fast, and there was so much change, and it was like super like sexy and fun, and then pandemic hit, right? So now it's like we're always on the road, pretty much living relationships, like pretty much like a long distance relationship, because we'd meet at the weekends at the house, like we were so busy.
Yeah.
And pandemic hit, and I think the stage was like, holy shit, like we gotta relearn how to live together. And then there was this time where
Then we didn't live together at all.
No, but then work wasn't the priority.
Which I think is when she was filming Dancing with the Stars in Los Angeles. I don't know if there was another time where she was away from him for that long.
Because there was no work.
That's true.
And it was so much fun.
Yeah,
it was
that's
like, I
true.
would say like that was the most fun part of our relationship. Because
So it says during the pandemic, when they didn't have work, that was the most fun part of the relationship, which is heartbreaking. But, you know, people say, oh, you shouldn't put your work ahead of your relationship. We always say that a relationship needs to be the dessert, not the main course. And by that, I mean, you need to invest in yourself and what your soul's journey is. And a relationship has to cheer that on. That doesn't mean you don't cheer on your partner. That means you both go in the direction of your dreams. If you can do that side by side, holding hands, you'll have defied the odds, and congratulations to you for that. Now, if you're in a relationship that's highly codependent, one person's the person who's succeeding and the other person's just making them lunch every day, then that person making the lunch might feel a form of bitterness towards the other, and the person that's succeeding might feel that joy but has no one to share it in because the other person doesn't feel emotionally complete. So it's a tough battle, guys. In some relationships, you might say, look, I just want to be a mom, or I just want to be a dad. I don't want to write a book. I don't want to do any of these other things. My partner does. They're that type of personality. They'll do that. I'll support them, and we'll share that love. It can work both ways. But when you're two personality types that are shooting for the stars, you know, it's probably a very narrow scope where you guys go and continue in the same trajectory.
because we didn't have to go, like, get this content out, or go do this, or go to this, or go do this.
It was like
blah,
we
blah, blah, blah.
we
just
relearned
sat
to live
and
with each other and
hung
then
out
enjoyed
and,
it.
played games, would have a drink at 3 because we had nothing to do, whatever it was, cooked together, and it was like this insane like engagement with one another. And then your season re-aired, so they did the greatest season, and that was when Kaitlyn got asked to go on Dance with the Stars. And so,
which, by the way, that's when people thought that Jason was going to propose to Kaitlyn, when they did the Zoom interview with Chris Harrison. It's just wild how much has happened in the last 2 years. This is when we just started to cover almost full-time the show, kind of before we were full-time. But this is when Chris Harrison asked Kaitlyn to be on Dancing with the Stars. Of course, she did it in the bubble season with no audience.
that like tightness, like the world started opening, opportunities started to come up, and it got full speed in moving opposite directions.
I mean,
my businesses took off, and I think what happened was for literally like 18.
I mean, my businesses took off.
I'm just crushing it.
I was saying Dancing with the Stars. My business took
By the way,
off.
I have no problem with this ribbing that they're doing with each other. They're both, like, as Jason's about to say, it's almost implied that Kaitlyn's business has already hit the stratosphere. Like, she's already super successful, right? To a level that Jason's not even close to. So for him to say his stuff's starting to take off, he's saying he's finally able to get some revenue and probably contribute and be at least in the same conversation with her. But she was already like a mega star.
Then you got the hosting gig. I mean, everyone knows all the success you've had is
I'm just-
unmatched.
Yeah, you casually
poking.
hosted.
Yeah, like just had like
Yeah.
15 jobs, but 18 months of just like living in different worlds. And then I think what happened was after Dance with the Stars tour, it was like we had to kind of relive that stage of the pandemic. Like, okay.
So some people have blamed Jason for these comments that he made, saying that he was somehow commenting that Kaitlyn shouldn't have done that, which I don't hear that at all. I don't hear any blame from Jason. He's just saying you were on tour, you were away, you were doing all these things. We had to relearn what it was like to live together.
Back under this roof. We're back here for 7 days a week. Let's get on the same schedule.
And there's so
Like,
much
retrain our
pressure
stuff.
for wedding planning right now because we're engaged that we're just trying to get back on the same page. So like little wedding details come up. Like we still plan on getting married, everybody. Like we have a wedding planner and we have venues that we want to do and all this stuff. But to actually sit down and be like, okay, let's set the date. Like we're like, no, let's get back on the same page first. and like get back in that phase where we feel like excited to plan a wedding, instead of feeling like we're doing it because we have to right now.
So I get this. I get this. This is like when you're in the deep end, you just want to get to the shallows. How do you plan a wedding when you're in the deep end? They're probably not able. I'm sure they were living 1 week at a time. Who's got the dogs this week? I got to be in Des Moines. I'll be over here for this. And then it's like, we can't be planning a wedding. We haven't even joined each other. So it's just like, it's almost like this train never got out of the yard here.
Because we've enjoyed being engaged, and I don't want. I think we both don't want like a long marriage before kids. We're like, okay, it's a long engagement. We're gonna get married and we're gonna have kids. Like that's, I think, we both feel.
Yeah, no, we do, and I think the thing is too is it's also figuring out like, hey, where do I come from the Northeast and you come from far west in Canada. For some reason, after 3 years, we still are just now having these conversations of like,
we've never even bought a house together.
Yeah.
Right. Like these are the conversations we're having, right? We just got a bank account together. Like we're slowly getting this together that like so these are the types of conversations we're having at this point.
It's pretty crazy because I'm turning 37 this month in like 10 days. And I have this thing in my head of, well, we should be married because my body needs to have babies and blah, blah. But I don't know. I've got my eggs frozen. They're good. Right?
Yeah.
I think all of that's a myth anymore anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's not a myth. The father time's coming for all of us, and it can lead to anxiety, and you don't want that pressure doesn't help. Well, but in some cases it does. In some cases, you got to be honest, in some cases the anxiety and the dread of saying, I want to have a family, I want all these things. We keep kicking the can down the road. We need to talk. Is this even worth it? Are we getting there? Sometimes those conversations lead to a more honest result, which is maybe we're not getting there. Maybe our path, even though our things shot off, maybe we can't redirect them and come closer together. And maybe that's what happened. Either way, regardless, we have to remember that they're humans having a human experience, and this is just how it goes down sometimes. All right, I will be live right after this, going on Patreon to further discuss this with a private community if you want to be a part of that. Stand-up comedy tickets are on sale for Huntington Beach and Seattle. You can go check out that. Links for all of that are in the comment section below. We'll be back right after this. Live stream tonight, 7 p.m. East Coast, before the episode and directly after tonight's episode of The Bachelorette. All right, guys, we'll see you in a bit.